morning. Help me welcome Prophet Thaddeus Branch to our show today. We're talking about music and how music brings God's voice to us and how it gets us into a place where we can commune with God. Music that defends us when the enemy is about, and music that nurtures our growth, causes us to get even in a learning mode at times. So, Prophet Branch has a particular song, and I think that we'll probably play a little bit of it that seems to do that for him, and I believe it's Luther Barnes and God's Grace. But Prophet Branch, I'd like for you to just tell the people about how music helped you in your walk with God, in your ministry, and helps you personally when you're dealing with daily issues.
Dealing with music and how it stirs the voice of God, and when music kind of stimulates you, break makes the demons run, and you get in a place in God that He can't touch you. It just do something. It breaks down every evil spirit. When the music of God is played, even when you prophesy, and it takes you in a place of a secure place, to me, and it's also it's healing. It heals your spirit. It heals your soul. It also take you up in the spirit, so high in the spirit that nothing affects you. You know what I mean by affects you. Satan can be coming after you, and you it's the music, I say, build a wall of protection. And for me, it allowed God to speak through me clearly, without any kind of nothing. Don't interfere with what He's saying to me. That's where the music helps me in ministry, in prophesying, doing the will of God. And preparation time with music, when you get up in the morning, reading and meditating, music takes you in another place in God.
Amen. I know that recently there were some things that happened, and that song by Luther Barnes seems to be the one that God is using in this season. I know He's used different things in the different seasons. I know when you're riding to work and when you got a lot on your mind, it's that song that tends to bring what you need at that time. Can you tell us anything about how God put you in with seasons of music? Like He give you some music, and you don't know what all is going to happen as a result of that music, but things happen in life, and immediately the Holy Ghost brings you back to that music, and when you start playing it, it lifts you to where you need to be. And for you in this season, it's been great grace. How did you come about even finding that song?
Well, I was very sick a few months ago, back in July, and I had the TV on TBN, and this minister was talking about grace. And when he started talking about grace, he said, "Great grace." And I told the Lord, I said, I need great grace. Luther Barnes' music just takes me in a place when, it says in that song that when people thought you weren't going to be nothing, when people, just dismiss you. But when they Luther Barnes song played by God's Grace, it took me in a place, a secure place, and let me know that God always got a way of reaching you. when you're down, when you're in downtime, a down moment, or when all the pressure of the world come against you, God will put a song, a word, then He'll put music to it and helps you through that day. And it kind of builds you, rebuilds you in your spirit, man.
Well, thank you so much, Prophet Branch. Is there anything else that you would like to tell the people about, about music? I know personally that one of your great desires is to sing yourself. And over the last few years, God has given you certain songs that you just do extremely well, and and then at other times, you and I both we don't necessarily have the talent for that, but God just gives it to us at the time that we need. And I know all over in Africa they sing one of them when we get off the plane. They're singing that song.
I brought back to memory when my grandson was real sick in the hospital in Atlanta, and that song, "Stay Under the Blood," came to me, and he had a blood problem, but God put it in my spirit to sing that song. I never heard it before, but I just started singing it. Then I found out different musicians had that song, but when it was given to me at that particular time, it just stuck to me. And then when I'm battling a hard fight, I said, I'm going to stay under the blood. There is healing under the blood. There's deliverance under the blood. And this world can't do me no harm. That song just captivated me, and it's my national anthem. And when I'm struggling, going through something, I fall back to that song, so it strengthens me.
And God allows us to pass that on to other people. It's like I said when we, our very last trip to Uganda, the party, that receiving party, we, met friends of years. These were friends of years. And so, and because you took that there as your anthem, the tribute to us the last time we was there was that they started singing it when we was coming off the plane. They was singing that we're going to stay under the blood. And I believe some of them still use it as part of their worship. I just want to encourage people to let them know that God can give you something for you, but it is not only for you. It begins with you, but it doesn't end with you. And no matter what is going on, God has given something to you. I encourage you to open your eyes to see and your ears to hear and your heart to believe what the Spirit of God is saying to you. I promise you, He will show you the way out. He will show you where your hope light is, and He will show you how to share it with others without suffering one little bit. I encourage you to remember, as long as there is life, there is hope. We're going to be talking about a young man named Nathan Cole. He's a part of Cole Evangelistic Ministries, which I am a part of as well. And our leader is Bishop Willie Cole. Years ago, Nathan was a young boy, probably about 3 years old. And at that time, Bishop was pastor of a church and didn't have a musician. Bishop was a praying man. So he had asked God to send him a musician. But God told him to look among his children. So he chose Nathan, laid hands on Nathan, and God imparted the gift of a minstrel to Nathan. And over the years, he developed his music as a composer, as a singer, as a dynamite preacher, and he's another example of what God can do if we could only believe. If we can hear God say what He wants of us, and if we can submit wholeheartedly to that, then God can take us far further than we could ever think, dream, or hope. Today, Nathan is pastoring a church in Atlanta, Georgia area. He's married, he has a family, and still serving the Lord. And we're going to show a few clips of his music and of his life. And while you're watching, be encouraged and hear God tell you what he wants you to do. And realize that if anyone else can do it, you can do it. And as long as God allow you to live and have breath in your body, you can praise the Lord through your music and through song.
I just want to let you know that God is waiting on you. And that no matter what you have done, his nail-scarred hands are extended unto you. He's waiting on you. Listen. I wonder sometimes, why do people run around wasting their time? Living their lives, don't even know why. Jesus is the giver of life. But I can hear God saying, I've been waiting on you to show you how much I love and care for you. Why don't you come to him? God is just waiting. Just waiting. God is just waiting. Whoa, God is waiting. Just waiting. Waiting on you. Waiting on you. Waiting on you. Yeah. Listen. You've been wondering why things are so hard. Why when you run to your friends, they're never there. But he told you in his word that he'll never leave you nor forsake you, that he will always be right there. He's there. So he's right there. Forgive your sins. To forgive your sins. Come on and let him. Come on and let him. Let him do what he did. He's there. He's right there. To dry your eyes. Hear you cry. It's gonna be alright. God is just waiting. Said he's waiting right there. God is just waiting. Don't worry about nothing, just come to him. He's waiting. Just waiting. Oh, waiting for you, for you. Yeah, listen. You don't have to worry. About what your friends may say, 'cause God is waiting. God is waiting. Yes, he is. He's there. Says right, waiting for you. Got his arms wide open, waiting on you. He's there. There's nobody waiting for you. Come to him, come to him, come to him, come to him, come. He's there, waiting for you. Come to him, come to him, come to him, yeah, yeah. Tell her, yeah. God is just waiting. Oh, yeah. God is just waiting. So I'm right there for me one time. Oh.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us again with Hope with Carol B. This episode is all about God and His voice through His music. The people who He have gifted, the people who He's used, and how we can find such great hope within the keystrokes or against whatever instrument you're using. Sometimes I think God uses us as instruments and He plays us to make a beautiful sound for Him. But His voice, according to the Word, is more prevalent to us when we play the music. So I have Toney Nixon with me, who I am sure knows something about maintaining your hope and a balanced life when God has gifted you with music. I've known Toney a long time, and I just want you to tell us, Toney, about how it started, and how the love developed, how God uses you with the music, how it changes the atmosphere, if it does for you, and for other people as well. What is it that you would like people to know? But first, of course, give them your demographics. I know you produce and you do some other things, so tell them about that, and then share with us that love and that relationship with music and the Lord.
All right. Of course, my name is Toney Nixon. Born and raised in a little town called Demopolis, Alabama. According to my mom, I started playing and picking out music when I was the age of 3. I had a love for it ever since then. I started off playing piano, and then it goes off into the saxophone and drums and organ and all these other different types of instruments. And I've always had a love for music. When I was young, I used to beat on pots and pans and do all that along with playing the piano. So as I grew older, it just became something that was inside of me. There's just this deep love and passion for music. And I love to do it now. Of course, I'm a songwriter, producer. I sing and I teach lessons, all these different things. Anything that deals with music, I love to do it. It was just something God has. This is my calling. It's pretty much the best way I can describe and answer how I love doing what I'm doing. It's a calling. So it's inside of me. So it has to come out. It's just something that I've always had a love for. The more music I play, the more I love to play. It's a relaxed thing for me as well. Sometimes I can sit down at the keyboard. I have a lot on my mind. I just do that. Nothing bad. It's just like you try to sort stuff out. And I sit there and it's just a relaxing mode for me as well as a job or profession. So it's just a love for it that I love, and it's deep down inside, and it's just something that I have to do. So I write a lot of music for a lot of different groups, a lot of gospel groups. And I've just done a whole lot of stuff down through the years, like arranging, I do a lot of choir stuff with churches and help organize a whole lot of stuff. So music is just pretty much a part of me. I do a lot of people need tracks that they need their music tracks that they go and play and don't have a musician. I do all of that type of. Then I take groups to the studio, who doesn't have a musician. I do studio work. I run live sound that deals with running live equipment as for setting up for big engagements, and all this from the big engagement to the small engagement. Anything dealing with sound technician and all of that, God has given me all of that. So, of course I tune pianos, and like I say, I teach lessons and all of that different. Anything with music. DJ is just a whole list of things that God has given me and has purposed me to do, is to do, with music. And that's all through the years of what I've done and are doing now is writing music, playing music, teaching music. That's pretty much the whole deal of what I love doing and what I'm doing now. So.
And thank you. I just want to be one of those that is a recipient of your talents to say thank you to the people who are listening to the intro track for with Carol B. Is something that you did for me on a very short notice, very quickly, and it was just perfect the first time around. And I just want to say thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I know that first day that I was talking to you when you were doing the beats for this show, you mentioned that you was going to write a book one day, and you would probably do a documentary one day, and most of us can't even get that together when we have a lot of stuff working in our area and in our favor. And you've had some challenges. I mean, one, you started out blind. So it's I can look at the keys and can't get it together. So, the miracles that God has given and the way you've stayed very, very humble. You have a wonderful spirit about you. And then you have this beautiful family that's very supportive. And it's the day and time that we're living in, that in itself is miraculous. To have something that God gave you that you love and to have the support of friends and family. Can you give people some insight on how they can walk in what God, the gifting and what they love, and still be balanced with family and career and children and all of that stuff that goes with your daily life? Some people, when that much stuff comes, when they don't have any challenges, can't handle it. Our mental people that deal with mental status of people today, couch is full of people. But you seem to just walk it very smoothly. There's got to be some points that you've learned over the years that could probably help someone who is challenged with that now.
Well, like I say, I am totally blind. I wasn't born blind, but I got real sick at the age of 3 months old. And the result of that, it caused me to have congenital glaucoma, which means, of course, my optic nerves is gradually deteriorating. But it just, when you got a praying mother, praying grandmama, at that time my grandmama was alive, and they just prayed prayed that God spare my life and everything, because the doctors had given up on me. But when God has purpose for your life, we're going to start there. When he has purpose for your life, then He not gonna let anything happen to you until your purpose is whatever he has for you is complete. So when I did, God spared my life, and like I said, we started pretty much as far as my mom can remember. I was at the age of 3. So being blind is challenging, but it's something that with God's help you can deal with. So as I got older and got out here and started doing all of these different things, my mom, she supported me a whole lot. And she still supports me even though I'm married now. And that's a blessing there right there. Now, with my wife and kids, I have a wife and kids. And it's a lot because my wife is a busy person herself. She's a nurse. So with all of this, all within the schedule, it takes a lot. But when you have someone dedicated and that God has placed in your life, he's going to make it to where you'll be able to fit everything in and then still be able to maintain and be balanced. But it has to be by his guidance, and you just have to pray to him, and he's going to give you, he's not going to put any more on you than you can handle or that you can deal with. All my life I've been, I faced some challenges but I've always prayed about a whole lot of stuff. And then, like you said, what I was saying earlier when I was talking about me being relaxed when I play music, a lot of times when I'm faced with a lot of things, I play music and just relax. That's just like a relaxed place for me. Like in the Bible, when David played music, it relaxed king and everything, and it just had a whole lot to go on with music. Is a very important factor that you deal with. A lot of people listen to jazz or listen to different music and that just relaxes them. Well, see, I write music and I play music, so that's a big help to me where it relaxes me, and then I'm out here writing it and doing it as a living also. But my advice to everybody out there who is a musician or who may want to become a musician, it's fun. It's something you have to have a love to do it now. It just, because I teach students as well, and a lot of them that I have taught, they love to do it and they'll continue. But I had a few who it just wasn't their thing, and there's nothing wrong with it because you have to have a love for it, number one, and then you have to have patience to learn because it's something to sit up here and try to learn the keys. God gave it to me, but trying to teach somebody, it's a big thing. But I love doing it, especially when the person has the love for it and want to learn. Now on the issue about the book, one day I want to write a book about what all I've accomplished in my life as far as all the musical challenges that I had and just my life as a whole, by me being blind and how I've overcome the obstacles that where I was faced with. Pretty much going to be dealing with my childhood and how I came up with being blind, living life and not allowing the blindness to determine my destiny or my future. I was a person who always strived to live in spite of being blind. So this is just something that, we all know God gives us all something. And this is something to show a lot of sighted people that no matter what you're faced with in your life, you'll be able to overcome it with God's help. So me being blind, God has kept me and protected me and led me all where I had to go and what I have to do. So, first I want to start with a documentary. And that's going to kind of head off, with the, what's going to be dealing with the book. So stay tuned with that, and we'll be getting everything situated with that because I want that to be something that can go all over the world and touch people and letting them know that not to give up hope, but with God's help, you can do anything. So that's pretty much where we are with that.
I knew you when you were a young boy, not when you were 3, like that, but you were a young boy. And one of the things that I admired, and I thought that it took a very strong, determined person. You were very young, and you had to leave home to go to school. Was that, how did you manage that? How did you manage being away? Because, I've watched you and your mom over the years. You were, for a lot of years, you guys were just like inseparable. When you saw one, you saw the other. She was very, very supportive, just right there. But then you had those times when you had to go away to school.
Yeah, I did kindergarten through 8th grade at the Demopolis school system, and then when I had to leave and go to the Talladega School for the Blind in Talladega, I was 14, and that was an adjustment. I'm used to having my mama cook food for me. I'm used to get just all this stuff, just basic stuff that when children be at home what their mama do. But you talking about a 14-year-old child leaving home and going stay at a dormitory with people that I don't know anything about. It was an adjustment. I tell you, at first I didn't want to go. But then, my mom, of course, she didn't want to let me go. But then at the same time, she had a friend of hers who sat her down and talked to her, and they used to work together, whatever. And she sat her down and said, look, you and the school system in the Moppers had told me, God had blessed me to make AB on the roll, and I was a real smart child in school as well. So by me being blind, I have to be dealt with certain type of equipment as far as, your talking computers and braille and a whole lot of different things that this school system in Demopolis weren't able to offer me. So Dad told my mom that it'd be best if I go up there, and they have, they're equipped to deal with blind and visually impaired people. So when I had to leave, it hurt her, of course, because, she wasn't going to be able to be up there with me. I was going to be at a dormitory, and I was going to be up there. And it was an adjustment. But once I realized the effects of it and how it helped me, then everybody, we kind of got relaxed. But it was a process, just like anything else. And when she realized how it helped me, she say to this day she glad that I went up there, because they taught me, when you blind or visually impaired, you do things like normal people, but you have different tactics that you deal with and take. Like me cooking and all of this different stuff, I was taught how to cook. I was taught how to pretty much take care of a household. So now, it just was a whole lot of things that I learned up there. I could have learned it at home, but it's quicker when you have trained professionals that will work with you and kind of show you, what you need to do as far as being blind. It's easy. You just have to realize that you have to do things differently, but it's manageable. So when I went up there, it helped me a whole lot with, I know how to deal with computers and all these different things. I've learned how to cook, how to take care of a whole household. My wife, she get all work. A lot of times she don't have to come home and cook, because it'd be something I've already took care of for the kids, and I do what I have to do. So going to Alabama School for the Blind was a blessing. It was a big help. And it pretty much has me where I am today as far as being more independent. It taught me how to be more independent. Was a good thing. My mama loves me, my wife loves me, but one thing they both tell me is you need to, do things, and it's good to be more independent where I won't have to rely on them. Only thing I pretty much rely on them now is to drive. That's it. Everything else I take care of, and God has given me the knowledge and the strength to deal with.
Okay. I've always been curious too about, is there a particular process that God uses when He's about to give you a new chord or a new sound or a new project? Is there a particular way He meets you in to make what He wants known, or what He's giving you at a particular time? Is there a certain things that happens that let you know when that is?
Most times, I know when I live with my mom, I've dealt with that a lot. Like a lot of times, I'd be asleep. I'd be in the bed sleeping. Like I've learned when I was there, I learned to always keep my CD burner hooked up and keep something there where I'm good. Because a lot of times I'm waking up in the middle of it. Like if it comes to me, most time it has come to me in my sleep. That's why I've dealt with a lot of music that I've written, is whether it have lyrics to it or words to it or not. If I get up and put it on a CD and have it, then I can get up in the next morning and like listen to it and then put like words or whatever to it. That's how I've written a lot of music for a lot of groups. And as a matter of fact, I have music round up there now that God has given me in the middle of the night, and I'll get up and record it. If I don't get up and obey and do it, I lose it. I forget it. So God has given a lot of it through sleep, or like I may be sitting here now and it may be something. And if I get to a keyboard, most time God will preserve me until I get to where I can lay it down and I can put it and just record it and it'll be there. Then I can go back and be like, well, okay, I need to do this. But a lot of it comes through. Sometimes I sit around and meditate and He'll just give it to me. It'll be like, like you think of an idea or something. It works similar to that. Like if God gives you something, like when you minister, God gives you the word and He'll put it in you. That He deal with me in that way. It come with me doing a while. Some of it while I was asleep, and some of it I may be sitting up and maybe riding or something, and it may be something that just come to me. And I pretty much had to get somewhere where I can record it or lay it down.
And how about if we just listen to a clip of some of your music now? Enjoy. I'm hearing some good stuff that people need to always have a way to write down what God is saying, which is what the scriptures say. When we hear something from God, write it down. And He's speaking to you in your sleeps and your dreams and the visions and meditation, all the things that He's told us in the Word already that sometimes people lose sight of. And to see how you have used it and mastered it is a blessing. And I just want to say for everybody, thank you for being obedient to God to bring to us the messages from God, the sound from God, the voice from God, with the heart of God. Now, is there anything else that you want the people to know before we close out today?
Basically, if you have a love for anything or God has given you anything, and this is for a lot of talented people that's out here that has a gift but not really utilizing it. If you don't use it, you'll lose it. My thing of it is, if God gives it to you, it's purposed to bless somebody, or it may be purposed to bring somebody out of it. Like me being blind, I know at first when I was a child, I used to question God and wonder, Lord, why did you do this to me? And I'm a twin as well, and my brother, he's sighted. But I used to wonder, why did God allow this to happen to me? And then He spoke to me one day. He said, well, you know, it's a purpose that I have for you, that you, even though you're physically blind, I want people to see my works through you. By you being blind, I'm going to use you to play music. I'm going to use you to teach, right? And all of these different things that deal with something that I purpose you to do and that you love to do. I'm going to make it to where it'll make, and the Bible speaks of the gift, your gift make room, that for you, that God is able to bless you in ways that you only can imagine. So my thing of it is, if it's something that God has placed in your life or placed as a talent of singing or playing or anything, use it, utilize it, and let Him use you, and you never know where it may take you. So that's my whole thing about that is to let Him use you, and He will guide you in the way that He needs you to go or wants you to go with your gift, because that's what He's done through me through the years. Once I realized what my purpose was with music, I was able to do a lot with music, and I'm still currently doing a lot. So my thing of it is let people see what God has instilled in you or what God has given you. Because it will, I'm not going to say it may bless or maybe, it will bless them. Because if he's giving it to you, then there's a purpose in why he's giving it to you. If you just only touch 1, 2, or 3 people, then you've done what God has purposed you to do. And I'm going to say this and then that's going. I taught a girl one time, and she had went to school one day, and they were doing research papers on a superhero, on who they thought was a superhero. And this particular young girl came to me. She said, well, Toney, I did something at school, and I hope you don't mind. And I said, what is it? She said, well, I see you as my superhero. She said, you talk about how God has kept you and the gift that I saw you play all these different instruments and how you take care of your children and how you do all these different things and you being blind. He said, that really inspired me. You know, how you talk about you take care of your kids and how you do all these things. And that really made my day to see a young child saw that in me. So if my life can touch somebody and be a blessing to somebody, then I don't mind being blind. If this is what it takes to get young people and anybody to see God's work through me, then I don't mind it. I embrace it and I continue to do what God wants me to do.
Yeah. I just want to encourage everyone, as God is using you, or you believe that he has called you, and even if your equipping is not done yet, but the role of a minstrel and all the things that surround that, as a voice for God, I just want to encourage you to step out, to believe God, to believe the word, to use the life of people like Toney and Nate and Thaddeus to be an encouragement to you. If you could just hope in the Lord. As long as there is life, there is hope. And with every sound, there's a love note from the Lord to his people. It was about 2 Kings.
Okay.
Where 3 kings had come together and they thought they was going to be annihilated by Moab. I want to say it was king of Israel, king of Judah, and Edom. And they didn't know what to do. They was entering into a war zone. And one of the servants of the king of Israel said, Jehoshaphat, said Elisha is near. Jehoshaphat was the one that said, and his servant said, Elisha is near. A person that God speaks to, one of his prophets. Why don't we get him to come in here and find out from God what he wants us to do before we get annihilated by Moab? Mm-hmm. And when Elisha came, one of the first thing he said was, yeah, all off. If it wasn't for Jehoshaphat, I wouldn't even come. He said, but since Jehoshaphat is here, in his rightful place, doing what he's supposed to be doing, then I will inquire. And the first thing he said is, find me a minstrel. Find me somebody to play the music. Because when the music is played, God puts his hand up on me and God talks. And ever since I've been old enough to know myself, that's happened for me. And when I started out in ministry, that's how God kept me in check. And how he gave me my comfort and how he delivered me from things and protected me from things. It was through music. When I hit rough patches, just music. No words, just music. And so, and he gave me something called the psalmist anointing that I didn't know what that was when I got it, because I don't sing. I have absolutely no talent for singing. But when that anointing comes, you would think I've studied singing. It only lasts till God's message come out.
Yeah.
And then it's gone. And I know I'm an average person. So I've been on the hunt for people who have had a lifelong relationship with music and the voice and instruction of God and the comfort of God. All the things that God sends through the music. You know, like when Saul was just being tormented by the demons that he created. You know, God sent him some. God sent David to play the harp to keep him back off of him. When the Jericho wall needed to come down, they sent minstrels out. So, you know, and the Bible tells us that the harp music caused demons to scatter. So, you know, it's like a place where God just overshadows and do wonderful things through the sound of music. And when I first started, I could hear it. I can still hear it, but you know, when I first started and hearing, it was something that made me thought I was a little loony, because I could hear sounds and I could hear choirs and I could hear tunes, and God would just say, join in. And it wouldn't make any difference what the person was playing, like it would always match. Mm-hmm. And like I say, I'm just an average person and I'm not gifted in that area. God just uses me in that area. I'm not called in that area. I'm not gifted in the area like y'all. So I figured y'all got to understand it better than a person like me and people who out in the audience that may be having some experiences and don't know what to do with it. And how the enemy could take it and do some horrible things with it if you don't know that this is how God speaks and this is how he created a clean atmosphere and this is how he, you know, he rescued his people. This is how he blessed his people. This is how he loved on his people.